Real fast. Real fast. Oh, if you're at ALJ, you know, like SMS,
Test 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter what's going on, they always after that hearing, I mean, you know, forever. I didn't go into this, but when during this time, support is testifying, no, they're going to be on the family or parents. So after that hearing, the last hearing, I got a call. He calls me for nurse. So we jump in the car because we get to the phone from but otherwise box will not get there. So use the fucking too. So I jumped in the car. My mom was to was like, I'm going with where are you going? Like Fred. Nursing tech after to that home. Like I'm going with I'm like, really? And we just came with my mom at midnight on like 11 o'clock. And looked at the car and I was like, we just had a drink. Please be seated. The approach of the story. Yes, just continues on. I'll remind you of it in just a moment. Everybody's ready to go? So we're back on the record in the Colorado Public Utilities Commission's proceeding number 23A-0552CP-EXT. When we took our recess for the lunch break, I believe you were in the middle of your direct examination of Mr. Casillas. And I'm assuming you have more? Okay. So, Mr. Casillas, just a reminder that the oath that you took earlier continues to apply. Sure. So you may proceed. Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
familiar with this exhibit?
Yes.
Can you explain what it is?
I prepared this. This is my handwriting. The purpose was to show the difference in the seating arrangements, vehicles.
Are the first 2 pages pictures of the intervener's vehicles?
Yes.
And is that your handwriting on page 1 and 2?
Yes.
And then the third picture, page 3, what is that a picture of?
Picture of the interior of one of our buses.
Again, is this your handwriting?
Yes.
And this is what you call the party bus, correct?
Correct.
And as I think you testified previously, part of that is the way the seats are arranged.
Yeah.
What else makes it a party bus?
The LED lighting.
Okay.
It's uniquely specified to, I guess, go with the music and enhance the experience.
So are there speakers and things in the back as well?
Yeah. If you notice on this photo alone, that's probably the majority of the bus. I can see 3 massive lights in the middle and 4 on each side. More of a club atmosphere.
Okay. And then what about page number 4?
This is an important one. This is a real photo taking on one of our trips. It's a different environment than what I believe the intervener is offering. The way I see it is that it's a layered experience. It's a layered memory. If we meet in the seats at Red Rocks, it's not really that memorable, right? We saw a concert, great, it was great. When you add this layer of we tailgated, and then we got a bus ride, and then we tailgated again, and the moments we share in that long process, all the way to the end of the night, 6+ hours, ends up being a life memory often. I just don't think you get that with the forward-facing seats. You don't go with people you know. You're booking for a little bit of privacy.
And is this this picture in page number 4, is this something that someone at your business took?
No, I was a passenger who took it and sent it to me.
Okay. After they were happy with their ride?
Yes.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of what your
Yes.
bus looks like when it's full of people?
Yeah.
And page number 3, is that a fair and accurate representation of what that picture looks like when the bus is empty?
Yeah. Yes.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 202.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Hearing Exhibit 202 is admitted.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Aye.
Yes, I'm going to hand you what's marked as Exhibit 203.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to review that exhibit?
Yeah.
Can you tell the hearing officer what is this exhibit?
These are reference letters, or letters of recommendation from around the community who support us in continuing this license.
And did you request letters of recommendation?
Yes, I did.
And who are these from?
Okay, so the first one is from Nancy Klukowski. She ran a Dream Rides LLC, which was one of our biggest competitors when we first started 10 years ago. She has a lot of the smaller buses, and she was really cheap, so she sold out quite often. Often when she did sell out, she would send us referrals all the time because she trusted us, and as mentioned in here, we've both been around a long time. Unfortunately, due to having children, she decided to go a different direction. However, at the time that she started, she was a big player in the transportation and party bus arena.
Okay.
The second letter is from Chad Guntherson. He used to run Denver Party Bus, which I now believe is referred to as 24/7. And he worked for, I believe the guy's name Eeyore, who's also a big player in the transportation game. He's served as a mentor to us and taught me a lot about what matters in the industry and the business and how you stick around for the long term. The third one is from our very first customer, who's been using us for 10 years since. Just what it means to him to have the service of being able to offer to him. The next one is his wife, pretty much saying the same thing. 10 years is a long time to be doing the tradition that he runs. There's the same concert every year. Next one
10 years, yeah. The next one is from one of our drivers who also used to run his own company, licensed through the PUC. Basically, letter of support. The last one is from the CEO of Recess Beer Garden, which I believe is the most popular bar in Denver. Also a letter of support.
And when you requested these letters, did you tell anybody what to say in them?
Mm-mm.
Did you, I guess you have to say
Oh,
yes
no,
or
no.
And did you offer any sort of free rides if you write me a letter, or I'll give you some money if you write me a letter, or anything like that?
No, I wouldn't do that.
And are these fair and accurate copies of all the letters that you did receive?
Yes.
And did you ask for or get any other letters that weren't favorable that you didn't include in the packet because they weren't favorable for you?
Question, but no,
Your Honor, I would move to admit to Exhibit 203.
Action.
No, Your Honor.
203 is admitted.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Can you hand me what's been marked as Exhibit 205? What is Exhibit 205?
This is our letter of authority granted 10 years ago from the PUC for a common carrier license.
And today you're asking to expand or extend this by removing the current restrictions, is that correct?
Yeah.
You're also asking to add some locations that you can bring people to, correct?
Yeah.
And why are you trying to do that?
Needed to grow. I feel like our city's changed a lot in the last 10 years. And the demand to the other places has increased a lot as well. I don't feel that there should be any restrictions this time. Last time, they got away with D, which is against service from hotels, motels, or airports. I don't feel that that was in our best interest to agree to that. Yet at the time, we were a brand new company and we agreed to it. We've been doing this for 10 years now. I don't think there's any reasonable argument of places we shouldn't be allowed to go now that serve the public need. We've done the work.
When you say the public need, how do you know there's a public need?
Well, I know from her in private conversations that sometimes she gets over 100 calls a day. And a lot of time we turn those people away. A lot of times those are for the same event, everybody wanting to go to. However, that's significant. I know that the culture of being driven places has changed over the last 10 years. I think 10 years ago, Uber and Lyft were new. It was a little preposterous to think, in my opinion, that we would take an Uber and get driven places all the time unless it was a special occasion. 10 years later, it's the norm. We've been culturally spoiled to want to be driven places, especially for safety purposes. And that's increased a lot over the last 10 years. And when we first started, we weren't booking places that we're booking now. It was only a special occasion, like a wedding or a prom or Red Rocks. And now people are booking us to take them to dinner. Post-COVID's a different world.
And have you had customers request places that aren't listed on your permit?
Yeah.
And have you determined that there's a need not being met by not being able to go to those places?
Yes.
And do you believe if your permit was extended or your license was extended, you'd be able to better serve the community?
I do, 100%.
And the handwriting on this exhibit, is that your handwriting as well?
No. I believe it is Evelyn's.
Okay. That's just where it says our current authority and request to expand?
Sure, yeah.
The other portion of this, is it a fair and accurate copy of your current license?
Yes.
But let me ask you about 6232 Beach Street, Denver,
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah.
What is that address?
That was the very first address that we were serviced out of originally.
And have you filed periodic reports with the Public Utilities Commission every year since you've gotten this
We
permit?
have to file our annual report. We've done every single one on time.
And did you change your address through the public,
Yeah.
through that process?
So since we moved back in 2016, every annual report has had the correct address that we're operating out of.
Did you believe that allowed you to start your rides at that
Yeah.
address, since that was your
Yeah.
home address?
From what I understand, everyone's in pretty regular contact with people at the PUC, and they've always, from my understanding,
Slow down.
take some water too, because I think it could be a voice issue. I know, I need that cup. Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Yeah, we filed all of our paperwork correctly since moving. Every year in our annual report, we have the correct address. And yes, best of our knowledge, we do believe that every trip that we start goes from the address in which we store the buses, and that's the way it's been explained to us.
May I approach?
Thanks.
Get a chance to review that exhibit?
Yes.
Can you tell us what 206 is?
206 is a copy of our Google reviews, which we consider very important, because it's a chance for customers to go on and look at how others have had experiences with you. And I believe Google is the #1 place where people can go to do that.
How did you prepare this exhibit?
I printed it off of Google.
And the handwriting on this, is this your handwriting?
Yes.
And explain to me what this exhibit shows.
Sure. The majority of our clients, because again, we don't pay for advertising, come in through Google. So everybody in the public has a chance to look at these 455 reviews. We believe that this is accurate representation of just how good of a reputation we built up through the community over the last 10 years. We've done everything we could to do right by everybody, and I mean everybody. We've had situations that just did not go in our favor, where we felt we might have been held hostage or a little bit to the customer with unreasonable needs, and we serviced them anyway. Not just for the not negative Google review, but to keep everybody safe, like Blair said. And I believe we ended up here because of a lady in the fall homecoming where she called up Evelyn the day before and said, by the way, we're going to need to change to 17 stops for our homecoming tomorrow. And that just wasn't realistic based on any expectations or previous conversations. There was all sorts of threats because she was an attorney. She was looking for a way to pin us. We did it anyway, and we ended up doing 12 stops for kids. And I wanted to cancel it. And I probably should have, but I just didn't want to do that because I realized how much this stuff matters. I don't want 30 parents writing bad things about me on the internet.
When you have a 4.8 rating, that's a 4.8 out of what?
5.
So this is like a 5-star. People can pick
Yeah.
0 to 5.
Yes.
And the 4.8, is that an average of the 455 reviews?
Yes.
Is this a fair and accurate copy of what was taken off of the Google search?
Yes.
I'd move to admit Exhibit 206.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Let me just ask one clarifying question, which is, my copy basically has what I understand was on this web page of Google reviews. It's basically cut off on the left-hand side, and I'm not seeing the 4.8 expressed anywhere on the web page other than in the handwriting. Number one, best copy of this, and number two, am I correct that the 4.8 only appears in the handwriting? I'll ask you that, Mr. Casillas.
I just noticed that. I can testify that what you're looking at, even with the copy machine cut off, is is 100% us. This is our company that you're looking at, even though it looks like there was, you're right, an error in copying these. Probably by an inch at most, yeah.
So you're saying, you're testifying that, what is, photocopied here is about your company.
Yes.
And does the 4.8 appear anywhere in the typewritten?
Maybe on the original copy, if we do, we might not.
But not what I see here. So I'm correct in concluding that the 4.8 is only with your handwriting, right?
Correct.
And that's, what you're saying is that's, correct and accurate as to what was printed on the part of the webpage that I cannot see. Is that right? I'm going to go ahead and admit it. Let's move on.
Mr. Casillas, if you were granted the extension of your license, would it materially change the way you operate or run your business?
Not as of right now, not really.
Or you're still going to operate it in the same
Yeah.
fashion? You're going to keep your vehicles as up to date as they are?
Correct.
You're
Yeah.
going to make sure everything is still repaired and everyone is traveling safely?
Yeah, that's the top priority.
It won't make it so that you're no longer able to maintain things or keep things up to speed, anything like that. Is that correct?
That's correct, not at all.
And it's not going to adversely affect the financial status of your company or your ability to operate?
No, not at all.
Your Honor, I have no other questions.
Mr. Carr, I'll turn to you, Mr. Lysenko, for any cross-examination.
Yes, Mr. Casillas, I've got a couple of questions. If certificate is granted, will you keep doing the services that you offer right now with the luxury limousine service as an addition?
You mean by both licenses?
Both licenses.
Yes.
Will you keep doing it? Is the Red Rocks the major destination for your current transportation?
Yes. I'm writing one tonight myself. It is something I believe in. Should, for everybody else's testimony, it is the most logical way to get there.
Mr. Lysenko, let me just ask. I didn't hear correctly the second to last word in your last question. Major? Okay.
Major.
All right.
I
Thank you.
apologize.
No, it was my hearing, not your volume or pronunciation.
Do you have a business plan for a shuttle service for the license that you're trying to obtain?
An actual written out business plan?
Mm-hmm.
I do not.
Can you tell how much would you charge on per seat basis for the shuttle service?
Good question. I think the perfect number as of right now, dollars. I think any more and you turn a lot of people off, it's away from the goal of safe transportation. I think any less, probably not covering your costs enough. Sometimes the buses won't always be full. I think that $50 is a no-brainer for the masses of the clientele and culture of the people that we service.
Makes sense. And where would you pick up your passengers?
You know, I agree with Blair a lot that different areas need to be serviced. I would like to look at all areas if it's feasible, which I don't know if it is because I don't have a business plan written. I would like to look at the areas that make the most sense and probably hit 3 different areas around Denver.
Can you please maybe just specify just for you probably before you applied you probably did your research and like that. Can you just name 4 major pickup locations you would pick up?
I think Lower Highlands, downtown, off University and I-25. And I think DTC would be huge areas to make it convenient for people
Got it.
who
And
struggle to get to Red Rocks.
got it. And where in downtown would you pick up?
Probably Recess or Improper City would be my preference. Improper City. I don't know for sure. That could change. I give a few good areas.
And
Let
you
me just interrupt and ask, Improper City, where is that?
City's in Rhino, a really popular up-and-coming neighborhood. 31st and Blake, I believe. A huge yard with capacity of the bar is probably 500 people.
Okay, I'm familiar with Rhino. I'm not familiar with that place. No.
Oh, okay.
And-
It's a workspace during the day, and it's a beer garden.
and you mentioned Recess. What's the Recess?
Recess is, in my opinion, the most popular bar in Denver. It also probably has a capacity of about 500 people, and it's got two buildings.
Is it Recess Beer Garden?
Yes, Recess Beer Garden.
That one is in Lohi, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I live across the street, and I can tell you on the weekends, sometimes there's a line for 200 people to get in there. Only on the weekends, though.
And just have a couple questions about the exhibits and some clarification. Exhibit 202, page 4. That's the picture with happy passengers. Can you please specify, is it a private party group?
I do not believe so, no.
So they're individual passengers?
They're individual passengers.
And what license did you operate under when you provided the shuttle service for individual passengers?
Or common carrier.
One carrier,
Yeah.
the one that been submitted as an exhibit 205.
I'm
And
sure I understand.
and where did you pick up these passengers from?
At Recess Beer Garden.
Okay, what's the address for Recess Beer Garden?
It is, but I know it's on 17th and Erie.
Got it. Is it the address that your authority allows you to pick up from?
So the way I saw this was, the way I thought it, the way we interpret it, we're told, is that as long as it started from our original address, stops along the way. This is why one of the reasons that we need to update it.
And who told you that you've been told?
There's our interpretation of it. So,
So let me just make sure the record is clear here. You were asked whether Recess Beer Garden is located at, interpreting here, you tell me if I'm wrong, 232 Beach Street in Denver, Colorado. That was the question that was posed to you, and I think I understand the answer, but just like a yes or no answer.
oh, okay, no.
No. Okay. Let's just, if we started about the Recess Beer Garden, so why did you apply for extension? When did you find out that you need an extend? Got it.
Sometime.
Do you understand right now that picking up at Recess Beer Garden against what your authority allows you to do? You don't understand it right now. Why did you apply to extend? Because I believe you applied to extend your license because you finally got it that you need to extend it.
You know, I think that
Otherwise, it's against the.
was majorly outdated. There were some things that probably needed to be updated, including the address of where we moved. Now seemed like a good time to do so. And we, on our own, wanted to make sure that we were going to be as compliant as possible to be able to service as many people as possible.
And how long have you been picking up passengers at Recess Beer Garden?
Not very long. We started approximately May of last year.
May last year. And can you tell me, please, what made you believe that you can do that? Is that your interpretation of the here in Exhibit 205, the letter of authority?
So what we were told
By who?
when in this room 10 years ago was that our only exception that we couldn't go to was hotels, motels, or airports. I understand that these places are listed where you can go to. I understand that. However, like I said, it was outdated. And I felt at the time, as long as I wasn't going to hotels, motels, or airport, I was completely in compliance with 100% of my authority. And we're in regular contact with the PUC. Something we check on to make sure of.
And how much do you charge per ticket for individual tickets from Recess Beer Garden?
$50.
Are you still picking up at Recess Beer Garden?
We would like to, yes. And yes.
You still
Yeah.
providing shuttle service
Yes.
from Recess Beer Garden?
We have the license to do so. We have a common carrier permit. Common carrier permit that we've carried for 10 years. When I started this company, allowed us to do so. Allowed us to do so. So my voice is allowed us to do so. I apologize.
Why you cannot, under the same letter of authority, you cannot pick up anywhere else except Recess?
We could make the adjustment. We could.
No. Well, right now you're applying for extension. You feel like you cannot pick up at some certain points with your current license. Why do you feel like you cannot? Because it feels like you can pick up with from Beer Garden, but for some reason you feel like you cannot pick up from other
Hotels or motels or
no, like for example, like you mentioned the I-25 and the university, for example.
Oh, I was just thinking out loud of places that could use the service.
Okay. So, are you planning on stopping picking up people from Recess Beer Garden?
Yes.
Stopping.
Oh, stopping. No, if this is extended, no. I would like to keep.
If not,
Yeah.
if it's not extended,
This is what we're deciding today.
and if it's not extended,
And it's not allowed. I will not. But
how do you know if it's not allowed with this extension? If it's not extended, it's not allowed. But you just told me that you believe that you still can pick up at Recess Beer Garden right now.
I do not understand. Really,
You just
this happened last time too. I don't mean to interrupt, but what?
So my question is, you just mentioned that you believe that you can pick up at Recess Beer Garden with your current license, but you're trying to extend your service. And I ask you, are you planning to stop providing the same service from Recess Beer Garden if you don't get this license? You said yes. If we're not going to be allowed, if we're not going to get this license, we will stop providing the service. So I have a feeling that you do understand that you are providing service against the
That's your feeling, not mine.
Got it. So, but you stating if you're not going to get the license authority, you planning to stop providing service from Beer Garden. Am I correct?
Whatever the judge tells me to do. I don't know how to answer your question. I don't understand this tricky little game of repeating things back to me that I said and leading me up to a point. I don't understand it.
Got it.
So do I have to keep answering it?
Yes. Simple question.
I don't want to answer it.
Simple question. Well,
You're leading me down a path to
Mr.
set me up.
Casillas, please stop. Wait for a question and then give best answer that you can based on personal knowledge.
Will you stop providing shuttle service to unrelated passengers from Recess Beer Garden if this application will be denied?
Yes. Not allowed. I will stop. Yeah, because that means we don't have a license anymore, so yes.
You previously mentioned that you had to do some mechanical work on your buses in your direct testimony. Are you a certified mechanic?
Oh, no, object, Your Honor.
I'm going to overrule and allow it, and that's the weight that is appropriate to it. Go ahead.
You mentioned that you sell out often, and you said that you won't get buses, or you mentioned some problems with insurance rates. You're not getting more buses due to the insurance rates and some operational reasons. Can you specify a little bit what kind of operation reasons stopping you from getting more buses when you sell out?
As the world's gotten more expensive, including inflation, even though we've never had an accident claim with passengers in it, insurance just continues to go up for the most ridiculous reasons outside of our power. Somebody drives a bus off a mountain like happened 7 years ago, our rates go up. It has nothing to do with us. And every year it's a different excuse of why, even though we've had a pretty clean, flawless record. I think that to grow too quickly would be irresponsible. Again, we care about safety. I believe in finding the sweet spot. I think that 10 to 12 is that range for the amount of sellouts, for the amount of demand in the city. The amount of managing 26 drivers isn't easy. They've got families. A lot of them have full-time jobs. A lot of people to go through on a weekly basis. And this isn't about money. This is about sharing a mission. And I think that not be too greedy. I think that that's the sweet spot, to answer your question, of the amount of buses that we would like to handle, even though demand is not being met at any of the places mentioned.
Makes sense. Few other questions about your exhibits. Exhibit 202, the interior picture of your bus. Is this how the seating looks like on all your buses?
Which page are you looking at?
It's actually page 3 out of 4.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And what is the oldest bus that you operate? How old is it?
I believe it's a 2013. I don't know for sure.
Got it. Can you explain, please, by looking at this picture, can you explain, please, how passenger can identify where his, her seat ends and when the other seat for the neighbor starts? When they purchase a ticket, single ticket for one seat on the bus, where the seat stops and where the other seat starts?
So, Mr. Lysenko, what is the relevance of that question in your view?
I'm just trying to see if they get in some kind of like size because people buy on an individual basis. They paying for the seat. They wanna, like at the airplane, this is my seat. They know what they get in for their money. Is there maybe they get in like some kind of like 30-inch size on this bench, or where the seat stops and starts the neighbor? When somebody call in demand, somebody demands his seat, somebody buys the seat, pays for the seat, where is his seat actually on this bench?
And how is that relevant to the questions that I have to decide?
I just want to, with my testimony, I would like to explain why we don't use at this moment these buses. Because I just want to see if Mr. Casillas maybe know when he sells the seat, what seat he sells.
Okay. I'm going to overrule and allow it, but I think there's limited relevance, and I think it's probably, to the extent you want evidence on this, it should come in through your testimony. So you can ask the question, and go ahead.
And Mr. Casillas, can you tell me please about the steel belt on these benches, party buses? Are they the lap seat belt?
I don't know the answer to that one.
So did you buy these vehicles?
Yeah,
Do they have seat belts?
some of them. I do not believe this one. I don't know.
Well,
That's
let me just say, it's not for you to decide relevance. You're just here to answer questions that I permit. So go ahead and answer the question. I think you already did, which is you do not think that there are any seatbelts on bus that's in the photo on page 3 of Exhibit 202. Do I understand that correctly? Okay.
In this bus, can you just point where the emergency exits, additional emergency?
So there's one.
I'm going to overrule and allow it. Go ahead.
The emergency that you can see. Are you talking about in the photo or total?
On a photo.
Okay. Photo is, you see in between that backlight right there. The backlights. I'm asking, can you see between those two backlights?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can push up an emergency exit there. Well, is there on each side? There's 2 emergency exits. You cannot see in this photo, but there's 2 in the back and then 2 in the front. You rip a red lever out, and it sets the alarm off, and those windows push out.
Got it. Do these buses have restroom, lavatory?
No.
No lavatory. Lavatory or restroom. All right. Looks like this is it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Casillas. That's all my questions.
Thank you. I just have a few clarifying questions.
Oh, sorry.
So first of all, I think there was a question along the lines of, I'm not going to get, or asked you essentially, how do you know there's for here? And you started out your answer by referencing a conversation with her, and I believe you gestured towards your mother. I just want to make sure that's who you were referring to when you said her.
Sorry about that. I meant Evelyn.
And you also testified about, well, I think it was in response to a question about if you were granted the extended service, what rate would you charge per person? And again, I'm not getting this exact, but I think you testified to the effect that $50 was the quote sweet spot on something like that. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Okay. So, I mean, would it be a flat rate, $50, irrespective of where you picked up and where you went?
The bus can share stuff, make more of it, is the thinking. And how it would work would be whoever's on the bus, let's say, hypothetically, there was 20 people on and 13 were in DTC and 7 were at Improper City. You'd go the reverse route through that Red Rocks to DTC first because the majority of the passengers were there. And then you'd go through the city, Improper City, and drop off the lesser group second. So for convenience, it's all doable.
Okay. But there wouldn't be any, like, graduated charges based on the distance, even if there was a substantial difference in the distance that people were being transported.
I guess if it was somewhere far away that I hadn't planned on, it would be an option to charge more. It's not on my mind right now. I care about the majority in the city. I wouldn't want to go too far out of it. Again, I'm speaking hypothetically. I believe in fair rates. I believe in what Blair believes as far as getting as many people out of there safely. It really is a scary sight to watch people hitchhiking down that hill at the back of Red Rocks with no lights. I've seen it, and they're walking, I don't know if they're drunk or not, but they're crossing the lane all the time. There's cars coming, and I'm dedicated to his mission as well. So I would sacrifice that for making more money. Yeah.
All right. It seems like, I mean, we've had a lot of testimony about Red Rocks here. Seems like that's the focus of what you're seeking here is more or less the unlimited right to transport people to and from Red Rocks. Is that a fair characterization?
No, not entirely. Red Rocks is the top priority. However, when I spoke to Mr. Lisinko on the phone for the hearing, Red Rocks was specifically mentioned. And because it is such a big part of our service, I think that's why the focus was on that. However, that getting out of any of these stadiums or arenas is a hassle and equally unsafe. I think Red Rock's probably a little more unsafe. I know that getting out of the Rolling Stones last Thursday when we went to, Ubers were over $100. I know that the week before, getting out of Zach Bryan, it was over $125. I would like to find a way with the unlimited authority to find solutions to all those. But I can't do that if I'm being restricted of places I can and can't go. 10 years of doing this. I would like to find solutions to all of it. Even though Broncos Stadium is in the heart of the city, I'd still like to find a safe way to get people just out of that mess, even if it's 2 miles away to Recess or Improper City or across the bridge downtown. Just because when Ubers come in, it's too much of a concentrated area, that's when the system kicks it out. That's when it starts raising. If it was able to spread across the city, the rates would be more fair.
Okay. I think I understand, so let me just go through the remainder of my clarifying questions. So you testified about updating buses, that you're more or less continually updating buses, and I'm wondering what updating means. First of all, is my recollection correct? If you use the word update or updating?
Updating, it means you don't really let them age. You keep them really nice, luxurious on the inside, safe. You make sure all the drivers do the pre-checks. You make sure that our mechanic is on top of every bus, and he knows what needs to happen before any big weekend, what needs to be replaced, which happens all the time.
Okay. All right. So you weren't, when you say updating, you're not, that's not, purchasing new buses is not included with
it's just such an advantage to know our buses, and we do. And I don't want, anytime you do, I know from chatting and acting over the years that you take a risk when you get a new bus. You get somebody else's baggage per se, and it's just a risk that you don't know the full health of the vehicle. It's new to you. Somebody could have disguised a few things on the bus to get it sold, and when you know your buses, you feel, and that means safer operation.
Understood. So,
and also, if I could add, okay, I didn't mean to interrupt. I mean, we pretty much own the majority of these vehicles. We have very little payments left. It's a nice place to be, and in case there is a pullback or, financial, or in case something does happen, we're on top of that. Our overhead is so low.
understood, and I understand what you're saying. I just want to make sure that the record is clear. So I started out by asking whether purchasing new buses is included within your testimony regarding updating. I think the answer is no.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Okay. Thank you. Have you ever been inside of one of Mr. Cinco's buses?
I have not.
And I think, just want to make sure I understand the testimony. I think you said in response to a question to the effect of, if your application is granted, would you change your operations? Perhaps the question was, add to your operation. I think your answer was no, at least for the foreseeable future. Did I understand that correctly?
The honest truth is, I don't know. But I could see us moving to those other areas down south that I mentioned, including DTC, including University and I-25 as well, like the Baker neighborhood, I guess, or somewhere down south, because I agree with what the other testimony earlier. It's really hard to get downtown. Everybody gets off work, and then it's just a stress mess. How are you going to get there? It's not fair to the people who don't live in the heart of the city to not have the access to, or be punished just because they don't live near Union Station or anywhere else any of the services go. There needs to be more diversity in that. So even though I don't know, I would look forward to the opportunity to trying it out and seeing how far it goes and getting people there safely and reliably.
Understood. And I think, my understanding of your testimony around this issue area is that you don't have any current plans to, for example, purchase any additional buses or hire any new people if this application. Do I understand that correctly?
No, but I would like the option to. Because I don't know what the future holds.
Understood. So those are all the questions I have. So do you have any redirect?
Just a little bit. Mr. Casillas, you testified that you don't have a business plan for this new extension, but is that because you've been running this business for 10 years?
Yeah.
This isn't a brand new, up-and-coming business. It's just an extension of what you're already doing, correct?
I'm an expert, and I don't think typing out a long business plan would be in my best use of time. I think.
And even though you're not going to necessarily immediately hire new people or buy new buses, if this extension were granted, it would allow you to allow for additional buses to operate instead of as luxury limousines, but as common carriers, correct?
Correct.
And so you wouldn't need any new people or new buses, but how you charge customers and where they could go would be different, correct?
Yeah.
I have no further questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carr. Thank you, Mr. Casillas, for your testimony. Appreciate it. You may step down. Mr. Carr, do you have any further witnesses? I don't see any.
No further witnesses, Your Honor. We would rest.
Okay, thank you very much. So we swing over to Mr. Lysenko. It's now your case, and I'm assuming that you're going to testify.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call my solo witness, Roman Lysenko. And is it possible, so I don't ask my questions, can I just testify from my perspective and my experience, just tell the story without asking myself questions?
Yes, that's just fine. And so, do you have anything else to add? Because I need to swear you in before you start testifying.
No.
Okay, so please raise your right hand and answer the following question. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. So go ahead. And I just agreed to your plan, but that doesn't mean that Mr. Carr doesn't get to ask you questions, or I don't get to ask you questions. But we're going to let you handle your direct examination however you want within reason. So no Q&A is necessary. Just a narrative is fine.
Thank you. Can I remain seated here? Should I move?
Wherever you feel the most comfortable.
Got it. So my name is Roman Lysenko. I'm the hands-on owner of Explorer Tours and Red Rock Shuttle. We've been operating for 13 years as a luxury limousine company, and for over 4 years as a common carrier. That's what Mr. Casillas operates under right now, most of the time. We keep maintaining both licenses. We have professionally built websites redrockshuttle.com and denver-tour.com. We use professional software for our bookings. We use GPS trackers on each vehicle to track the fleet. All our fleet is paid off. It's over 700,000 fleet altogether. We have 10 full-time drivers and probably 5 or 6 part-time drivers. For the public shuttle project, we operate 6 14-passenger Sprinter vans or transit vans because some of the locations less popular than others. We have a motor coach right now. It's a Volvo motor coach. The oldest, the second one is coming next month. The second motor coach comes next month. The oldest vehicle in our fleet is 2018, and that's the one which is due for update. We usually try and do not keep vehicles over 5 years old. We keep selling them, so we kind of pushing or stretching to a 6-year-old vehicle. So with that motor coach and 6 14-passenger Sprinter vans, we can move up to 140 passengers a night right now. We're not even close to reaching out the limits. We still have dates, like, for example, today, we've got only 10 people sign up at some certain locations. We've had already this season, we had 5 nights when we had only one customer in the vehicle, only one single passenger, and we still drove those days. We still operate, we still drive even if the vehicle is having only one passenger. We have to when we sold the ticket. We are a financially stable company, so all our fleet is paid off. If we need more vehicles, we can obtain them this week. With the credit score of 835, we can lease, we can get the loan, auto loan, equipment loan if we need to buy larger buses. So we can add on as many buses pretty much as we need right now. At this point, we just don't need them because there is no demand up there for adding up more buses. So we didn't have a night at the Red Rocks where we were sold out completely. So we still operate, we advertise everywhere, pretty much. We still did not reach the limit.
So I understand, with respect to Red Rocks, the limit is 140 passengers, and that's for the motor coach and the 6 Sprinter vans?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. And have you ever used all 7 of those vehicles for a Red Rocks?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Never. And we get in the second motor coach, actually, just to do the private transportation. Right now we get in second motor coach, not for the Red Rocks. We get in it for private transportation for schools, because we already stepped into the motor coach world, and we get in that second one to do the school projects, like maybe school, high school, sports team transportation and stuff like that, because we already have motor coaches. But it's not because Red Rocks is booming. So everybody come in, and I was under the same impression when I applied and I've got the license. When I see lots of people at Red Rocks, I was like, they need transportation. When I've tried, when I've got the license and I've tried, I realized that not really. Most of the people, especially after the COVID, the demand started shifting towards the private transportation, private car service, because we keep maintaining both licenses. We provide public transportation and we provide private. We still have private luxury limousine license. So, and the demand shows, our record shows that people actually start using the private more. That's why the exhibits from 303 party buses show that great increase for the last couple of years, because the demand actually is shifting towards private transportation, not towards the public transportation.
And when you've testified about private transportation, you always mean pursuant to the luxury limousine permit,
Luxury limousine, yes.
as opposed to the CPCN.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Right. And the charter. We have a charter license as well. It's a charter bus license, luxury limousine, and we have the common CPCN, common carrier license as well. So, and I can testify that the Red Rocks is the major destination for us, and that's the reason why actually we intervened in these proceedings. So the overlapping territory is the Red Rocks. Plus, in addition to that, I have concerns about the national parks as well. Because when Mr. Casillas, without exact plan, may try the public shuttle, if it did not work, there is always something that he can try, like transport passengers to national parks as well. So the national parks is the second concern. That's the reason why I intervened on this application.
So in which national park?
Rocky Mountain National Park, Lookout Mountain, the Red Rocks as well. You can do tours as well. There are Mount Blue Sky. So some of them actually, I did not read, and I don't have the application on the front of me, but some of them last time I've checked actually within the application.
So, and let me ask you, just so the record's clear, what county is Rocky Mountain National Park in? You know.
Laramie.
Okay.
Laramie.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So right now, I can state that there is no deficiency in our operation. We can get as many vehicles as we need right now. We just didn't reach that limit where we need to buy extra vehicles. And I would like to offer some exhibits into the evidence before I proceed. Your Honor, I would like to offer Exhibit 100. That's the letter of authority.
Thank you. Exhibit 100 is admitted.
That's the evidence that we can intervene in this proceeding. That's the letter of authority, and this is the authority which falls under regulated monopoly. Your Honor, I would like to offer Exhibit 101. That's exploratory reviews into the evidence.
Any objection?
I can lay proper foundation if we need to.
Your Honor, I have no objection to.
Okay, got it. And Your Honor, I would like to offer into the evidence the Exhibit 102, that's the Red Rocks shuttle reviews. I would like to offer it into the evidence as well.
Okay, so 101 and 102 are admitted.
And with this exhibit, I would like to show that we actually operate. We don't just hold the license. We collect and reviews on pretty much daily basis. Some of those listings, they have 560 reviews. So we actually operate. We're not just holding the license and preventing people from getting into this business. We actually do operate. The reason, since we moved from luxury limousine license, we had buses like Mr. Casillas had. the sideways sitting party buses, because we've been doing proms, weddings, bachelor parties as well before we moved to the public shuttle. So we had sprinter vans with the sideway sitting, and we actually had to sell them once we moved towards the public shuttle service. The reason why we moved, I'll explain, because the passengers actually would have lots of troubles. Those vehicles, they called party buses for private parties for the reason, and for luxury limousine for the reason, because usually most of them used for private parties. When the private party, I called the chartering party. There is a definition for chartering party for limited regulating carrier in the statutes. So chartering party, when they know each other, the unrelated passengers, when they get into the bus where exact seat, they paid the money for the exact seat. They want to know which seat they take in, because some of the passengers, one can be tired, the other one is drunk. It's completely different business from what the Mr. Casillas operates right now, and I used to operate, because you have to make people, individual people that come from different backgrounds, from different with different stories, they all come into the same vehicle, and you have to divide them somewhere and tell them which seat, where the seat starts, where the seat ends. Otherwise, it never ends well. There can be fights in those buses. There can be a fight for because some people will be falling around in those buses. Plus, those buses where you cannot define exact seat, where you purchase a ticket and you don't know where is my seat. So there is a bench. So somewhere on the bench without the seat belt. Those, most of the party buses, they don't have seat belts. And if they do have seat belts, they have only an overlap seat belt. It's a 2-point seat belt, which is not the great safety concern. So my safety concern, due to that safety concern, we actually got rid of those shuttles or the vehicles because they didn't work. We couldn't apply them towards the public transportation. So instead of that, we actually start moving towards motor coaches. And the reason why we move towards motor coaches is because when you have great party of like 30 people or 40 people, when they all come with the same background and they charter in party, they affiliated, they related, they know each other, they okay with stopping for restroom. They okay making extra stops somewhere. When the one person orders the car, his main kind of contact, and he makes the decision, and driver talks to one person only. When there is 40, 50 people on your bus, they don't want to stop for restrooms. They don't want to add up extra stops. You're making one person happy. The other 10 gets unhappy and angry. You have to deal with unrelated individuals that everybody have own views and own expectations on transportation. So we move towards the buses because they do have restrooms. We don't have to stop for restrooms, so they can use restrooms. We moved for motor coaches because we can define the forward sitting position, and they actually gives you the best safety. The seat belts are actually 3-point over-the-shoulder seat belt, like a regular car seat belt. In those vehicles, they've got, in those motor coaches, we have 9 emergency exits. The sitting position in motor coach, you higher above all vehicles, and in case of impact, the passengers are safe. The motor coach didn't actually, when they made the decision, I actually went online. I've done lots of research. The transportation and traveling by motor coach on the road is the safest way to transport passengers and travel on the highway or on the road. Pretty much, this is the safest vehicle right now due to the weight and due to the sitting position, because you sit much higher than everybody else on the road. For those reasons, we actually got rid of all the shuttle buses that Mr. Casillas using and planning on using for the reason, if there would be a demand for that, we would definitely, if there would be a proven demand for that, we would get those buses back. We have, right now, we've been buying motor coaches, so we ordered the second motor coach, we ordered the smaller bus, like 32-passenger bus, we're paying in cash for those buses right now, and we can buy more buses if we need to, we just don't need them. And to get those vehicles, I apologize, today, that may be the reason why we did not hear anybody testifying for the demand on the buses that sit in sideway. Because maybe there is no demand for that. If there would be a demand, we would love to talk to those customers, build the relationship, and get the buses that they're interested in. I'm a businessman like Mr. Casillas as well. I'm trying to make money the way, if there is a demand for this side sitting, it is a demand, that's great. We would love to get them, and we have ability to get those buses. There is just no demand, as I'm aware of, for those buses. Furthermore, and even though we moved to motor coaches, even though they cost 5-7 times more than the regular shuttle buses or the party buses. The average party bus you can buy in a good shape, good condition for $150,000. They all like a new one.
$150,000.
$150,000, yes. The new MCI is $650,000.
And what's MCI?
Motor coach. That's the motor coach bus with the forward seating position with the 3-point seat belt, like I previously mentioned. So we're moving towards the motor coaches for the reason we already tried. We already sold those buses. They already did not work out, and that's my concern. Mr. Casillas will try it. It's not going to work. He will sell it. He will start doing what we're doing exactly, and he will be operating the same as we do. And with that redirection of traffic, we will be suffering. We are suffering right now since people moving towards the private transportation. And again, today I've heard the witnesses testifying that no way demand can match. As far as I know in these proceedings, there are no demand. Nobody, not even one person testified in this room today that there is a demand or unmet demand. For example, the people actually start using the private cars. The people driving themselves for the reason, because they do want to drive themselves to Red Rocks and back. So right now we're pretty much setting up those pickup locations and getting the breadcrumbs in downtown, selling per ticket and grabbing per passenger and trying to combine them together and send the people to Red Rocks. So it's not like people suffering and they have to ride because there is no alternative options. It's they do that for the reason they actually want to do that after the COVID. So they get in private cars, they get in Ubers, and I can testify, I do, like I've been telling Ms. Casillas' story after I saw the way she supports her son about myself and my mom once setting up the cones at the Red Rocks at like 1 a.m. or like midnight, because one of my guys who's supposed to set up cones for the motor coaches, they canceled on he did not cancel. He went to emergency room, and I had to go right there to set up cones. I would like to testify that the people that we've heard today been walking down the street suffering and asking for rides back, there are no people. 30 minutes after the concert is over, maybe 35, the parking lot completely empty. Everybody is gone completely. All the vehicles, Uber picks up lost passengers. there is a sheriff going on each parking lot, making sure nobody left at the Red Rocks. So 35 or 40 minutes after each show, the parking lot's completely empty. And I've been seeing that all the time. There are no people laying on the roads, suffering or camping right there because they couldn't get back home. There are no people that suffering and begging, I'll pay you, I'll give you my kidney if you will take me back to Denver. They all gone. The way transportation works right now at Red Rocks, they all gone. But yes, you see the Red Rocks, it's busy. Yes, customers drive themselves. Yes, there are car services and shuttle companies. But it doesn't mean that those people would like to use shuttle service, public transportation specifically. There is no people that being left at the Red Rocks overnight. They all gone. And it happens by 40 minutes after the Red Rocks over, everybody is gone. I've been there on parking lots. I've been checking my guys setting up homes because for those motor coaches, we have a privilege. And that's another thing is I would like to mention that Mr. Casillas previously mentioned that he never heard about us. And the reason why, because like today his drivers testified that they actually park at Lower South, we park at Upper North with all the motor coaches. We have a privilege parking there, but we have to set up home zones. So our motor coaches can come in and just park right there. So every night at midnight or like 1 a.m., we're setting up those cones after each concert. I've been there several times. I've been driving through the parking lots, checking the parking lots. There, I can testify there are no people left at that place. They all made safely back home. There is no reason for thinking that there is a need for another public shuttle or another transportation. We don't operate at the limit, and we actually, if we need to, if we would get somewhere close to the limit, we would be happy to hire more drivers and get new vehicles.
Sanko, do you know, is there a required time at Red Rocks when concerts have to end, when the music has to end?
Through the weekdays, yeah, I believe there is a loudness or like sound kind of law that the concert is supposed to be over by like 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, but bands can just pay the fine and keep playing. So there is no, so usually like it happens to us often when there is there is a hotline you can call at 9 a.m. in the morning on the day of the concert, and you can check when the concert estimated music end time would be tonight. And often they delayed for an hour, for like an hour and a half, and all our motor coaches and sprinter vans, they all sit and wait for customers. So we never leave. We don't operate on schedule. We go by the music end time, actual music end time, not the estimated.
Understood. Go ahead.
Another reason why I forgot to mention that I moved to motor coaches, because we actually like the comfort. The party buses that we used to use and try to use for this service, they are so bumpy. The companies, they call them actually bus on the frame. So there is a chassis that Ford sells, and then there is other market company that actually put the box on top of it. And so you pretty much making the passenger vehicle off of the commercial cargo vehicle. So it's a little bumpy. And we moved to motor coaches because their front and rear air suspension gives the best ride and comfort level of comfort to our customers. So, and if somebody would try to find efficiency or say that the service we provide is sufficiently or substantially, the way it should be called, substantially inadequate by using motor coaches, and I need to get rid of them and get 10-year-old party buses, I would not agree on that. Because from my personal experience, we actually moved towards the motor coach world for the reason. But if we need to, again, we're happy to move back, and we're happy to get those buses. Just 1 second. I've got a couple more. I apologize. I will stop repeating myself.
So I'm going to, I'll sustain that objection. It was cumulative, but you may continue, Mr. And one thing I'll say is try to avoid argument in your testimony. Your testimony should just be about facts and your personal knowledge of facts.
Another thing I would like to mention, today I saw the exhibit that Mr. Casillas offered into the evidence. It was the Mr. Carr offered into the evidence. It was the actually Google search results, and the I believe that was exhibit 201. So I'm the software engineer. So I went to the software. So I'm a software engineer. I've got a bachelor degree in that, and I'm doing my marketing and online marketing by myself. So I can state that checking by Googling your name or your keyword, main keyword in Google, the search is not, results will not to be accurate, because Google these days, like all other services, provide personalized results. So if you clicked or you went to your website a couple times, next time when you search it, your website that you went recently will be shown higher in the search engine, only because you show some interest into that services, into those. So I'm just saying that from my perspective, my knowledge and my personal experience, it's not the way you should check statistics, and you should get statistics from search engines. Because if you went to the page, it will be higher. And there are special tools that need to be used to check the ratings actually at Google. 1 second, Your Honor. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lysenko, and Mr. Carr. You may proceed with your cross-examination.
I don't know, but every application that steps on our toes, we do intervene. As applicant that trying to expand their business, we would like to keep our business. I don't know off top of, but
Other application, or you're going to interview.
like I called threatening people. Never.
You got your common carrier permit 4 years ago, correct?
That is correct.
So you got a permit. You already had a carrier permit.
Hold on. Yes and no. The permit that 303 has, it allows only to operate and pick up passengers at the storage facility, which is useless, because nobody will come to that storage facility. To red trucks. So, but yes, answering your question, yes, later.
After 303 had been driving people to Red Rocks for 6 years, you got your, correct?
That is correct. That's the, I would object on that, because it's a really, not from the points where we pick up. So there is, the way the common carrier licenses work, you choose the area or territory which you're going to serve. So right now we transport passengers from Denver County to Red Rocks. So answering your question, yes, we don't like people getting licenses and transporting people from Denver County to Red Rocks, but we don't care about other counties.
But you're not.
Red Rocks, and yes, I can make a list of those places. Yes. Exactly. Yep, and I can make a list. And when Mr. Casillas called me, I told him that I am always trying to be nice. I told him that there are a few things that you step on our toes. There is few places. I can give you a list. Please think about that and see if you want to remove those places. We will withdraw our intervention. And he didn't want to do that. No, he never had authority to transport passengers from City and County of Denver to Red Rocks. If he would have intervened me, but he never had. Right now we sold because right now we don't have we don't need them. There is no need. Yes. Yes. Right now at this point, yes. Mr. Carr, you have to understand that it's unrelated customers. So one person wants to get the music loud, the other person gets panic attack from the loud music. One person, so we choose the concert we're going for. In that style, we put the music on, and it's at a level that most of the public places would play the music at. So answering your question, they don't control the music because they are unrelated customers. By making happy one person, you make unhappy several others. Exactly. And 303 Party Bus wants to step into this business with his understanding the way he runs, operates the luxury limousine license. When we stepped in, we had to modify our business to make our customers happy. So right now, it depends on the pickup location, but from Denver, it's, I believe it's 65. Some nights, yes, we've got one person. No. With us? No, not really. We there are another shuttle companies on location as well that operate those buses that the drivers testified on the upper north. That's us on location parking besides right there. So there are other companies. There is Denver Airport Transportation serving other markets, serving other counties. There are other shuttle companies. So I'm not the only one providing shuttle service. Between all of us, there is nothing pretty much left. That is correct. But I'm testifying about my own experience and my awareness of the market. Got it. Could you repeat the question, please? That is correct.
And you've never sold out to Red Rock.
That is correct.
And this is all with the front-facing motor coach or sprinter. Right?
That is correct.
And at most you can.
Right now, at this time, yes. Yeah, definitely. We have a pickup in Cherry Creek. We have a pickup in right now at Convention Center. We have a pickup at Union Station. So, Right now, we actually, so we've got you have a copy of our certificate. So we are going to different places that our certificate allows us to go. So there are national parks, but the shuttle to Red Rocks, if we're talking specifically, there is few different things. There is Mountain Star Transportation, which does ski transportation and ski trips to the mountains, public shuttle. There is so it's same company. If you will see intervention, it says Mountain Star Transportation, DBA Explorer Tours, and or Red Rock Shuttle. So there is a transportation project going to ski resorts. There is a tour project when we take people to national parks. And there is a Red Rock Shuttle project that taking people to Red Rock specifically. Exactly. With
On that same day, you could have another party say, hey,
that is correct.
and if there happened to be a concert that day, you'd only have for about 30 people. Correct?
But we never went that route. We never sell out. We never had a day when we used 100% of our capacity or our resources.
Specify that Rocky Mountain National Park is in Larimer County.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure of that, or is that what you think?
I'll need to check, honestly.
Isn't Rocky Mountain National Park in Grand County?
There is two counties, national park in two counties. It starts with Lake Estes Park, I believe it's Larimer, I believe, and then it goes to Grand County. But I'll need to check, honestly. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, it is. No, I will give you a list. I will need to see the application once again, and I will need to see where, because when we started, before we went into these proceedings, Mr. Casillas called me, and I told him all those places that we want him to actually do the restriction on, but he said he's not gonna do the restriction on Red Rocks, and he will. So that's why we're going through. But I will need to check once again all those places and see the application once again, because some of those places that I will name right now, they may not be in the application. So I will need to sit down and just compare application and our authority. And yes, if he would draw everything what's on our authority, we're happy to withdraw application.
I think you testified on direct extremism that these are completely different businesses. Is that correct? 03 and Mountain Star Transportation.
What do you mean complete? Can you specify?
I think you testified they're totally different businesses because we have party buses that you don't believe are comfortable. You don't believe people want to ride in. You have luxury coaches, and everybody gets their own seats, and different seat belts and things like that. So
That's
different business models, right?
not correct. That's some misfact. You are saying that I don't believe. Not I don't believe. My experience shows that the party buses don't work for transporting unrelated passengers. My experience showed that our demand, we had zero demand, zero. That's why 303 party bus have zero witnesses testifying about the demand today. For party bus transportation for unrelated customers in the vehicle. Sure. There is, I know PUC is extremely loyal about hearsay. So, but they are strict. They can allow the her say all these letters of support in a, even though it's very little weight on that, and the testimony. But there is the PUC, Mr. Carr, already set the bar, what it takes to actually get into that. So the bearer of burden of proof is an applicant. I did receive your brief. Okay. Okay.
So why don't you restate the question?
They have people calling and they're sold out and there's more people calling and they can't satisfy them. How is that not testimony regarding?
So it's a compound question. I will not object on that, but let me just tell you a few things. I did hear Ms. Casillas testifying about what she heard on the phone, but the demand, the proven demand, that's when the people right there in the witness stand and they testify how much, when, volume, about the demand. When they say if they used us, what they didn't like about us, the demand did actually the way the demand shows in this courtroom is slightly different from someone saying that I've heard, which is related party to the company, saying that it's actually somebody called me and asked for the service. Yes, I did heard Ms. Casillas, but answering your question, no, I still believe that no witnesses, customer witnesses, testified about the demand from their perspective, like they will be using the service. Not somebody heard about the demand right there, but the demand that people would stay and testify, I'm here, I would be using this service. That's what I did not hear. Testified about, yes. Yeah, oh yeah.
There's a demand.
Where demand? Where? Yes.
Get a ride.
So I've heard that Mr. What was the last name? Watkins. So Mr. Watkins actually testified that he saw people, and he assumes that there is a demand. But as an attorney, you know that assumed facts, not in evidence. So he assumes and believes that there may be. So I did not see the demand right there. Okay, yes, but he did not mention how many times he goes. How many? We going into the arguments right now. If you can ask me the question, I will reply. I agree. Yes, he's there. Okay, so one person cannot. It's speculation. One person cannot testify about the demand in general. His personal knowledge. Yes, he would like to use something. Yes, we can say that there is that person wants to use that service. That's great. That's all he can testify about. No. I can testify what my experience providing both luxury limousine and shuttle service.
And your experience is for your business.
No. There is, I testified about that it's not enough demand. I testified that we did not reach the limits, and if we get in close to those limits, we're able to get buses. No, that is not correct. The reason of this regulated monopoly is actually you twisting the question, your leading questions. I'm not objecting to these leading questions right now because. Yeah. Sure. So we actually, the reason I understand that why there is regulated monopoly because there is actually, when you, there are not much business when you charge on per seat basis.
So let me just interject here. I'm not sure how helpful this is to me. This is more argument. I think where we are is that the applicants have testified about this issue, demand for this service with facts. Mr. Lysenko has testified to different facts about this, so I'm not sure how helpful this line of questioning is.
I have no further questions. We'll leave it where it is.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Lysenko, I just have a few clarifying questions, just like with other witnesses. So you provided some testimony about the search results that I believe were hearing exhibit 201. And you prefaced your testimony by saying that it sounds like you have a bachelor's degree in
computer science.
Or computer science. And I think the gist of your testimony was essentially when you use a web browser and run searches, that the results you get will be informed or influenced by your search history, essentially. So does using incognito mode in a browser effectively wipe away that search history from influencing the results that you receive from a search?
Not necessarily. It's actually, it depends on what browser they use. Some of the browsers, they operate differently. So when we check our statistics, we use special tools. When it gives us, even though we get in rankings at Google, they fluctuate. Even like every 5 minutes, it can be on the second page, on the second position, then it can be on the fifth position. It can fluctuate during the day even. So I apologize, I'm taking it to a different location, but answering, no, it will not wipe out. Even if you wipe out the cache, you need to actually make sure what you actually removing from that cache to make to get the clear result.
Okay. So I think you started your answer by saying incognito mode can have an impact along the lines that I suggested, but it depends on which browser you're using. It sounds like incognito mode, your testimony is, it works differently depending on the browser, you're using.
Yes, you're correct.
Right? So what is the capacity of your Sprinter vans?
There are 14 passenger.
And do all of those Sprinter vans, do all of the seats in those Sprinter vans, do they have 3-point seat belts as well?
Yes, they do.
So let me ask you this. Are party buses like the applicants are operating, are they serving different customers, a different set of customers than the customers that you're serving with motor coaches and Sprinter vans?
Yes, you're correct. They serve in private parties, and there is a different license for that. It's a luxury limousine license or a charter bus license. So it's completely different groups. It's a groups of related customers, and we've been serving them before in the past. And actually, Mr. Casillas can serve them right now in a private vehicle because they like to share the space. They know each other.
Okay, so if there's any, well, more of a theoretical question perhaps, could a party bus with a CP, a common carrier party bus that, you know, does not have the restriction of a luxury limousine serving only related people, would that type of party bus, common carrier party bus, serve different customers than the customers that you're serving?
No, they are completely exact the same customers. So if there is a demand for that, if there is demand for that, we would definitely get those buses and would start serving those passengers. So when customers, when the shuttle advertises, sometimes customers not aware of what the seat position they're gonna be, what the seat belt's gonna be, what until they get into the bus. So my biggest concern is that it's exactly gonna be the same customers, and our customers will end up in 303 party bus vehicles. So it is exactly the same customer.
Okay. And I think you testified that you previously operated party buses.
Yes,
And
I have.
did you operate those as a common carrier under your, as luxury limousine?
We begin with them because since we moved from luxury limousine, we had those party buses, and we tried as a businessman. I tried to apply them to a new venue, to a new CPCN shuttle license, so we don't have to sell them and get the new buses. And we did try. We started. We had lots of bad reviews on that. We had calls, people complaining about drunk people laying down on somebody's lap and stuff like that.
They didn't know?
They didn't know. They unrelated. And we've been getting lots of fights over the seats right there because some persons act, some people after the concert, not as other people expect on public. So, and when they unrelated, so we, after all that mess, we had to get rid of those vehicles. And actually, it didn't go as well as Mr. Casillas hope it will go. And we actually got rid of those vehicles, and we moved to individual seating. We moved to the safest forward position, like we're doing right now.
Okay. All right, that's all that I have. You now have the opportunity for redirect, which is basically to address, again, anything that I've asked and anything that Mr. Carr has asked you, whether you want to do that. But that's how whatever other testimony you want to give now, it's limited to questions that I asked and Mr. Carr asked. So if you have anything further, let me know.
Got it. No, Your Honor, I don't have redirect.
Okay, thank you. So I'm assuming you don't have any other witnesses or any other evidence.
No, I rest my case.
Thank you very much. So I'll turn back and see Mr. Carr. Do you want to put on a rebuttal case?
No, Your
Okay. Thank you. So give me just a moment. All right. So we're at the end of the case.
Your Honor,
go ahead.
I apologize. If I can ask for one exception, it seems like applicant already had one exception about moving this. I want to ask about one exception. Just I forgot to testify about one thing. Can I throw that on the record or no?
Well, before I ask you, Mr. Carr, whether you're going to object, I'm going to note that I showed some flexibility with you earlier in allowing you, after you stated you were done with questions, to ask at least one additional question. So in light of that, do you object to Mr. Lysenko?
You're actually called that with me. I do think it's different. I don't know not knowing what we're going to talk about, I don't know if I have an objection. I can object without. I'm not trying to be an obstructionist.
So, Mr. Lysenko, can you summarize shortly the subject matter of your additional testimony?
Yes, that's the cross-examination, actually, or it's a redirect, I believe. That's the questions about raised by Mr. Farah asked me about the witnesses and about demand testimony. It's one of the exhibits, letter of authority that I want to bring it up, that we actually contacted those passengers, those witnesses, or those people that wrote those letters of support.
So, you have objection. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to let you do this, Mr. Lysenko, and just for the record, I would note again that I did show flexibility with the applicant earlier, which allowed him to get into evidence a couple of exhibits that otherwise were not in evidence, which is not an insignificant deal. So in light of that in particular, and to be fair to both sides, I'm going to let Mr. Lysenko add to his testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just real quick, the exhibit 203 showing letters of support, and there is the letter of support from Recess Beer Garden, which is Jason Romero. He actually, that's the Recess Beer Garden we've been talking about when Mr. Casilla has been providing shuttle service to Red Rocks for individual clients without having authority. So we did contact Jason. I contacted personally Jason, and I offered him providing shuttle service to Red Rocks. His response was,
Well, go ahead. Do you have a response to the objection?
I will rephrase and I will testify what I've heard, not what somebody said.
Yeah, understood. You know, I'm going to overrule the objection and take this testimony and again attach the appropriate weight to it, particularly in light of the fact that this gentleman has written a letter that's in evidence, Exhibit 203, last page. So, understood. So go ahead.
So, yes, and Mr. Romero told us that he has the contract with 303 Party Bus, so he cannot work with us. We did offer our services. We did offer our shuttle services, and we offered them to set up a pickup location at Recess Beer Garden at his location, but he said he has the contract with 303 Party Bus. As I've realized today, 303 Party Bus does not have the authority to provide shuttle service. So I would like to testify my experience from talking to one of these persons that wrote the authority, support, letter of support for the applicant.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I assume you're done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, and you're resting?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
All right. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the evidentiary record. Let me ask this. Do either of you or both of you want to present closing arguments here today? There are at least three options here. One is you can present closing arguments orally. The second is you can present closing arguments in the form of a written statement of position. And the third is that you don't present any argument either in writing or orally for today. So let me turn to the applicant and see what you would like to do. Okay, Mr. Lysenko, are you okay with that?
I would agree with that, yeah. Please.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead then, Mr. Carr?
I did lay out the legal argument in my pre-hearing brief that was filed yesterday. But essentially, in order to do so, 303 Party Bus needs to be able to show that they have financial, managerial, and operational fitness of the proposed operation. I think that has been shown through the testimony of both Mr. and Ms. Casilla, as well as their two drivers, and Mr. and Gilbert, I apologize. They're shown that this isn't like a new application where it's somebody that's never done this before and you have to prove can they do it. This is an operation that's been up and running for 10 years, been running as a common carrier and a luxury limousine. They've been able to do so. They've been able to do so successfully. I can go on through the other exhibit that shows the point of sale. That they've shown that they have the financial ability to increase if need be, again, through their balance sheet, the cash on hand, the ability to reach credit. They've shown that they can operate the things they've been doing so, running customers up and down the Red Rocks and the other communities for 10 years successfully, having many repeat customers as you they've shown that the management of the company properly in this community. Once we've met our burden by preponderance as to those three areas, then on the interveners burden switches to them for them to show that that isn't the case. There's been no testimony at all today from the intervener regarding 303's financial, managerial, or operational fitness to operate on an extended permit. We have shown also that granting this authority is in the public interest, not only again through our drivers who are at Red Rocks and other places on a near daily basis, who are seeing lots and lots of people that need a ride, lots of people that want rides. Shown that as well from Ms. Casillas, who testified about the demand that they have and having to turn people away, not only because they don't have the ability under their current permit to bring in additional van or bus up to Red Rocks because they're not allowed to, as well as the ability to go to other places, proms, homecomings, things like that, where currently they're operating as a luxury limousine. That's all they can do, but they've had customers that want to pay by the person instead of pay by the group. They testify to that demand being there as well. So that is a public interest. It is showing that the public is wanting this and needing this. We've also shown that the existing service is inadequate and that public convenience and necessity demand this service. That's been shown through, again, I believe our two drivers that testified are, 303 party bus. They have shown that by their statements as to what they've seen, what they haven't. In addition, Mr. Watkins, I think, is the best witness for most of it. He's an independent witness. He's a competitor to both 303 and the interviewer. Yet he's still here saying there's greater demand, much greater demand than can ever be met by anybody that's currently in the business, by everybody that's there. And he didn't testify just as being the business owner. He testified as being a driver, having been up there and having people ask him for rides. He testified as a concert goer, having been to concerts and trying to get rides and seeing how difficult it is. So he's definitely shown there's a need and that the public convenience and necessity needs to demand this service. Mr. Lysenko's position is because he's not busy enough means that there's not enough. And if he's not busy enough, then nothing else should ever be granted. He should be able to continue with the monopoly and being able to charge more. As you heard, both Mr. Casillas and Mr. Watkins testify, they believe the right now to charge is $50. They both charge essentially $50. They're full. They're sold out. They can't keep enough people getting up there. They need more vans. They need more things. Mr. Lysenko has a nicer bus. He spends more money on it. He charges more money. People don't want to ride it. He's not sold out. He's never been sold out. Some nights, one person. Ms. Casillas told you that about every single night that they go to Red Rocks, they're sold out. So I think that there is a demand for what we are trying to provide. There may not be a demand for what Mr. Lysenko is trying to provide, but there is additional demand for what we're trying to provide. In addition, the other portion of the intervention is that this is a duplicitous service of what he's performing, and I don't believe that it is. I think the evidence has shown that it's not. We operate, and the testimony originally on the rec from Mr. Lysenko was these are totally different businesses. He doesn't believe the party bus business works. The evidence has shown that he's wrong, because the party bus business is working, and there's great demand there. But either way, it's a different crowd, it's a different person, it's a different group of people. They like to blast the music that you heard from the drivers and from Mr. Casillas. They like to party together. They like to do this. They're not worried about, do I have seat 1A or do I have seat 2B? They're all in the mix together, having a party on the way up, having a party on the way down, going back, repeat customers, sending photos that we've admitted as exhibits back to the company of how much fun they had, things like that. It's a different piece. In addition, I would think that that as to the intervention, I don't believe it is even an intervention as to the entire request of 303, if that makes sense. I believe the testimony is he's only intervening as to Red Rocks and the national parks. I definitely think there's no opposition as to about 90% of what we're asking for, with really the opposition being Red Rocks, whether that's any opposition or not. Your Honor, I would also just close with, because this is a regulated monopoly, that the real question is not whether the extent of the business in a particular area is sufficient to warrant more certified carriers, but whether public convenience and necessity demand the service. And this isn't, it has to be Mountain Star Transportation or 303. I don't think that's the right analysis. I think that the analysis is it's Mountain Star Transportation and 303. And I believe that the testimony, the evidence presented, we've met that burden, and I don't believe that we've met the burden.
Okay, a few questions for you. You referenced that there's evidence in the record regarding your client's access to credit. Where is that in the record? Is that in testimony, in one of the exhibits?
Both, Your Honor. So in the balance sheet, there's credit card liability showing on their credit, but she was then asked if they have the ability to access additional credit if necessary. She testified, yes, they do.
Okay, and the documentary evidence, does it show amount of credit? I mean, I just remember it showed liability level.
It does. I did not ask to what extent they can get additional credit. I just asked if they can get. The record does not.
And I'm right that the documentary evidence just shows the liability, credit card liability.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
It also shows.
Understood. Let me ask you this. So you're basically arguing that your clients and Mr. Lysenko are basically serving two different markets, and they may be more proper to characterize them as kind of sub-markets of the shuttle and charter service markets. Am I understanding that correctly?
I agree that, yes, that's a portion of our argument is that they're two different, these aren't two shuttle bus companies, these are two different companies marketing to two different groups of people, one that wants a more luxurious private experience and one that wants a more social party atmosphere.
Is there any legal authority that you're aware of for me to do the analysis of need or substantial inadequacy based on those sub-markets? I mean, aren't I supposed to look at basically the shuttle service market and the charter service market and not sub-markets within those?
But what I'm getting at there is when the duplicitous slide, because I don't think that we're duplicating anything here for that section of it. I'm not aware of any case law or statutory authority off the top of my head as sub-market, if you will. I do think it's a different service. I understand the operator under the same license, so I don't know where you get with that side of that piece of it, but I do. Okay.
And last question. I heard you argue essentially that Mr. Lysenko really, he's intervened only for a subset of the overall authority that's being sought here, extended authority that's being sought here. And I think the record reflects that Mr. Lysenko was not able to testify because he just didn't remember at this point everything that he objected to within the proposed extended authority. So my question to you is, based on this record, What am I supposed to do with that argument?
On what I see today, it's not testimony today. Based upon what he's actually intervening for, I believe a big portion of what 303 is asked for is uncontroverted today. It's not objected to. It's not. There's no intervention as to that. I believe that portion is essentially admitted by Mr. and no other interveners. I believe that portion should be granted no matter what. So there is no objection to it. And applications that are accepted by the I believe that part's all been done properly to exactly. And as the intervention portion, there's argument about it. I don't think there's a burden to meet on something.
So, and are you aware of any authority, any previous cases in which, in a contested proceeding, the commission granted some subset of the authority requested based on the same kind of argument that it was uncontroverted at hearing? All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think you're done, right? Just wanted to make sure. So before we move on to you, Mr. Lysenko, let me just ask Ms. Wiesenthal, okay, why don't we take I lost track at the time and the fact that we started close to 12:30. So let's take a break for 15 minutes. It's 2:40. Let's come back at 2:55. Thank you.
Oh, no, it's a credit score, 800. I'll tell you for sure what I said. It was credit score. It was the credit score. Yeah, and it was 835. 835.
Please be seated. All right. Assuming everybody's ready, we are back on the record in the Colorado Public Utilities Commission's proceeding number 23A-0552CP-EXT. And we're concluding with Linka's closing argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. Today, I've heard about some subgroups of customers. PUC defines only two groups of types of customers. That's the chartering party, that's the definition of a group of related customers, and unrelated customers, that's when you need the CPCN certificate or permit for. There is no special subgroup people that like to ride sideways or backwards on a bus. So when there is, today I've heard that the applicant got most of the experience transporting private parties with private party buses and some experience operating public shuttle service without the authority from Recess Beer Garden, just a little to Red Rocks for last couple of years. But mostly it was the private parties experience. And the applicant trying to obtain the license and step into the world where we've been operating for 4 years, providing service to unrelated customers. So, few things. Mr. Carr mentioned several times that the intervener did not meet burden of proof. Intervener does not need to meet burden of proof. It's only an applicant. So applicant has to burden of proof. The rule 723-1-1500 says that the applicant must prove managerial, financial, operational fitness, and that the proposed authority in the public interest. There has to be documentary evidences on the record, proven demand for applicant services. The burden can only be met with documentary evidence. There is nothing. The burden can only be met with documentary evidence. There is nothing on the record providing the proven the demand for the applicant services so far.
So the word that Ms. Wiesenthal was hung up on, did you get it, Ms. Wiesenthal? Can you spell it, Mr. Lysenko?
Documentary.
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 Got it.
Documentary.
Yeah.
Documentary. I apologize.
Thank you.
So public speaking is not my...
You're doing great.
Okay. So the applicant and some of the witnesses assume that there is a demand because they see lots of cars at Red Rocks. But there is no proof that these people that they see at Red Rocks will be using applicant services. And assume facts, not in evidence. Critically, because of this application falls will determine under the doctrine of regulated monopoly, the applicant must demonstrate that the existing service provider service substantially inadequate in overlapping territory. Today, applicant and intervener several times testified that the Red Rocks and some other territories is overlapping. So nothing up to this critical moment in administrative records showing that the existing service provider's service is inadequate for such assertion. So I see that the proof of demand is missing in this case. I see that the proof of that the existing service provider is substantially inadequate is missing as well. And when they say substantial, it is substantial inadequacy. It's not just the position, the way the customers write. So position should fall into the personal preferences, like a color of the car they would like to write. The having or not having TV in the vehicle, having or not having microphone for karaoke on a car, so it is completely personal preferences, and it cannot show the deficiency of existing service provider. Another concern is financial and operational fitness. Nothing in the record. There is no documentary evidences showing that the applicant willing and can buy more vehicles, get more resources. Not even a testimony from the applicant. The applicant testified several times that he is not willing, he is not looking to buy new vehicles, he is not adding new vehicles because of the insurance and operational reasons. He did testify as well that he will be providing the same service he is providing right now for private parties. He did testify that he is selling out often, especially through the busy season, through the busy straight truck season. So he does sell out often, but he is not willing to buy more vehicles. So for me, there is the basic three things, which is managerial, financial, and operational fitness that has to be met. I believe that the applicant maybe met the managerial fitness running the business, or maybe operational side of it. But the financial, plus there is proof of demand, and it should be substantial demand. It shouldn't be only one person, but not even one person today testified that he or she or there will be using applicant services. Plus, in overlapping territory, there has to be a proof that the existing service provider is inadequate, and there is nothing on the record actually supports that assertion.
Let me ask you, Mr. Lysenko. Mr. Carr told me in closing that there's evidence in the record of financial ability to expand operations in the form of cash on hand and access to credit. I think what you're referring to is testimonial evidence from Mr. Casillas that he doesn't have any current plan to expand his operations. First question for you is, do you disagree that there's evidence in the record of financial ability to expand?
Well, I agree that there is some evidence, but how much weight they have, you will decide. But usually bank statements, credit scores, letters of approval from the banks, that's the financial documents. It's not the printout from Lima Anywhere. We do run Lima Anywhere system. We can print out. We can run the printout. We do run QuickBooks. So I'm saying that the substantial proof of financial statement and fitness should be shown differently with titles for the vehicles, insurances, bank statements, and stuff like that. So right now, the printout from Lima Anywhere showing that they've been busy, or the statement from the bookkeeping system they operate. To me, Your Honor, you will decide how much weight it has, but there is no official heavyweight proof of financial fitness. Even the testimony of the applicant.
let me ask you a follow-up, which is assume for a moment that I decide that they've shown financial fitness. What weight, if any, should I apply to the testimony that there's no intent currently or for the foreseeable future to expand operations to meet the need that they say exists? Is there any law out there, case law or statutory law, saying that that's relevant to my analysis that you know of?
As you know, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know the answer to that question, and that's why we're giving it up to you to apply the weight to all the exhibits and testimony. But I think that the testimony from the owner actually having more weight than the actually hearsay letters and printouts. That's actually what the person intends to do. But I'm not sure if I answer.
I think I understand. And I understand you're not an attorney. So perhaps that was an unfair question. But I understand your point, so go ahead.
But even though if financial and managerial fitness is, let's say, met, but there has to be a proof of demand. So for now, so far, there is no grounds or basis to issue another license. In this matter, dismissal without prejudice is appropriate. So the applicant can get better understanding of the process, what it takes, and reapply later on. So, Your Honor, this is my closing statement, and I apologize. I keep forgetting to draw a line that we are existing service provider that meet the demand. There is no unmet demand, and we willing and will provide service. And if we need to add vehicles, resources, pickup points, pickup locations, if there are going to be any witnesses in the future, we will be happy to work with them, offer our services, and provide wherever they ask for. There is no need to issue another license. We will be able to work with those witnesses and meet their demand in the future. So far, there is not even one person testified that there is a demand for the applicant's service.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lysenko. So we're at the completion. Well, you didn't reserve any time or the right to do that at the outset, so I don't think it's necessary in any event. So I will say no. So let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm taking this under advisement today. I'm required to issue all my decisions in writing, so I'm not going to decide orally today. I'm going to take it under advisement. I'm work on my recommended decision. I tell you when that's going to issue. But once it does issue, whoever is dissatisfied with the recommended decision will have 20 days to file exceptions, or basically an appeal to the commissioners of the Public Utilities Commission. So from the date that my recommended decision is mailed, it's 20 days to file exceptions, and then the commissioners, to the extent anybody files exceptions, will have the opportunity and will address the exceptions at one of their weekly meetings. So that's the process from here. Let me turn to each side and see if there's anything else you'd like me to address, and I'll ask you first, Mr. Carr. Thank you very much. Mr. Lysenko?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. So let me thank you all for a good presentation here and for keeping it professional as well. I appreciate that very much. So with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ours are all e-filed with the exception of, I did modify one of them. They were pre-filed, but Harris said they still have to file. Mine's full of them. No, 2103, I did say, Oh, good, all right, perfect. Okay, all right, good. Oh, really?